out, so I'm just gonna, is that cool? Before I get started, just thank you so much for having this amazing event. Thank you guys for being out here tonight. I'm gonna ask you guys a question before I get started with my story. How many of you guys truly believe that you can do anything you want to do in this life? I mean, really though, like really truly believe that. And if you guys believe that, are you doing what you truly want to do in your life right now? Right? And so it's interesting for me because I'm going to ask you guys permission to be really vulnerable with you tonight. And I'm going to share with you guys the worst day of my life. But before I tell you this story, I want you guys to understand that this is my story, but it's not a story about me. This is a story about you. And this story starts for me when I was 23. I just moved out here to San Diego from a small farm, and I had a really, really rough upbringing. And this particular day when I was 23, I just had enough. I just was done with life. 23 years old, and I didn't want to live anymore. And so I had made some decisions. I decided that I was going to end it. I decided I was going to kill myself. So I drove to my drug dealer's house, bought a bunch of cocaine. I went to my pharmacy at my doctor, and I got a bottle of Xanax filled. Went to the liquor store and got some bottle of vodka, and I went home and I decided that was it. I don't want to live anymore. And as I took the pills down and did the drugs and took the booze, I ended up calling my mom as I was falling asleep. And I don't know about you guys, but have kids maybe, but 2,100 miles away, I'm 23 and I'm calling my mom and I'm saying, Mom, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I just don't want to do this anymore. And my mom's like, Marshall, please wake up. Wake up, Marshall. And as I faded off, she was left wondering, what's going on with her son? This wasn't the worst night of my life. This night started when I was 4 years old. My parents got divorced when I was 2. My dad was a severe alcoholic, used to beat the hell out of my mom. She decided that wasn't for her. So she got divorced, and at the age of 4, my mom was remarried to my stepfather. Now my mom, she worked far away, she worked long hours, and so I grew up on a farm with my stepdad every single day. Except I didn't know then that hurt people. And my stepdad was a very hurt man. And so every day of my life, since I was a little boy, every single day, he would tell me I'm a worthless piece of fucking shit. You're going to be a worthless Mexican like your dad. You're going to be a pothead. You're an alcoholic. You're nothing. You're so unobservant. You're so ungrateful. And for my whole life, this is what was drilled into me. Meanwhile, I go out into public. I go to school, and I'm a standout athlete. I'm team captain. I'm class president. I'm Mr. Popular. But no matter what I do, I come home, and I just want Dad. Dad, like, love me. Look what I've done. You're worthless. Don't matter. And so I was conditioned at a super young age to realize that no matter what I achieved, no matter how much success I had, it didn't matter. Any of you guys ever felt like that before? It got to a point so much that I lost myself in alcohol, addiction, partying, toxic relationships. And it was before too long that I ended up out here in San Diego and that fateful night. Now obviously I didn't die. But I was left traumatized because where I grew up in the Midwest, they didn't tell you you could be anything you want to be. They didn't tell you you could have dreams. They didn't tell you you could grow up and be an entrepreneur or go make a bunch of money. They didn't tell you you could help people and actually get paid to do it. And so I thought when I was 23, this is it. I can't even kill myself, I'm so worthless. I can't even do this right. And so I didn't want to die anymore, but I didn't want to live. And so I started living a really fast life. And I just hoped it would end. And I got mixed up with some not good people. And that probably my life probably could have gone a different way if I had been caught for some things. And along this time, about the age of 25, I met a guy named Dustin. And Dustin was the first man who ever taught me it was okay for men to love other people. He taught me it was okay for a man to say, I love you, bro. I love you and I support you and encourage you. I never heard that. I never had that. Dustin's a guy who taught me how to be vulnerable and how to share my story. You see, I never told Dustin about me trying to kill myself. Where I come from, that's weak. Men don't cry, men don't do that. I couldn't tell anybody how embarrassing that was, how much guilt and shame I had around that, and so for years I carried that. And it didn't matter. It didn't matter what I did in my career, in my life. I knew it didn't matter because of my past and because I tried to kill myself. I wasn't a real person. That didn't really matter. What do I ever matter? And so I didn't tell anybody my story. And I carried it with me forever. And then about 5 years later, I get a call at 4:32 a.m. And I'm laying in my bed, it wakes me up, pick up the phone, and it's Dustin's sister. It says, Marshall, Dustin hanged himself. My best friend in the world. And I sat there and I wondered, man, if I had just told that story, if I had just made that space, if I had just admitted what I had done, could I have saved Dustin? And I carried that guilt for so long. And now looking back the day after I woke up, and it was my first day without Dustin, I started to think, I started to ask myself, what is it, Marshall, that you truly want to do? Because there's a 13-year-old boy, just like you, sitting on the corner of his bed, that wants to kill himself right now. There's a 23-year-old man in the apartment in San Diego that wants to kill himself. And I started to realize, man, there's a lot of people who grow up with these self-limiting beliefs that don't believe they can truly be anything they want to be because their dad told them something, or their mom told them something, their coworker told them, their friends told them something. And so what do? They play small. Now, I don't know if you guys are playing small somewhere in your life right now. Maybe there's something in your life that's a big challenge that you are dealing with. Maybe a shame, a guilt, and embarrassment that you're carrying that's not even yours to carry. And so why I come here tonight and why I travel around the globe telling these transformational stories is because I want you guys to realize that mess that you guys have in your life, that pain, that mess can become your message. I know it's scary to stand up and admit everything that's gone wrong in your life. I know it's scary to stand up and be vulnerable and put yourself out there. But I'm telling you guys, if you get anything from this short story that I shared with you tonight, is that mess can become your message. Imagine where you're at right now today. Shit, you're alive. You're here, you're breathing. Did you know that 3 years ago? Did you 5 years ago know you were going to be here? Did you from 10 years ago know that this was possible? And what about if today, if tonight, if maybe you go and you share that story, maybe tomorrow you tell somebody that pain, and what if you can create a space for you from 10 years ago to step into and realize, you know what, it's going to be okay. There's a lot of people out there that want to hurt themselves, and it's all kinds of different things. Maybe your story's not, I tried to kill myself. Maybe your story's, man, Marshall, I had a good life, man, things were great, my parents were married. Well, when I tell my story, how does that make you feel? Less important, maybe? Like you don't matter? See, that's a feeling too, that's the emotion. So what it comes down to, you guys, is sharing these stories, being vulnerable, and creating that space is a way for us to relate and to prove to each other that we're all worthy. We're all the same. We all feel the same emotions. We all go through the same pain. And so my wish for this story is that you guys take a look at the one thing that you maybe are not taking action on in your life, that one thing that your heart's calling you to do, but that one limitation inside you from that mess in the past is holding you back from doing. I'm going to invite each and every one of you to look at that, turn that mess into your message, and ask how you can go out and inspire the world. My name is Marshall Dillon. I'm a transformational storyteller. I'm on a mission to save 1 billion lives and save 1 billion lives with vulnerability and storytelling. Thank you.